Are you ready?
If you want some, hurry up and come get some.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Because you're not feeling Lucy?
Austin, are you ready?
What's up, Rust friends? We are here and we are live on a Sunday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Edie.
And my name is Teddy.
And yes, it's early, but we're here. So thank you. And you can tell that it's early because I definitely pressed the wrong intro the first time, but I was like, it's okay.
I was like, oh, a long intro.
I was like, great. Yes, long intro. I was like, okay, hey, hit the hey, Rust friends. Honestly, we're here, and that's enough. That's enough.
Exactly.
Rust friend, how are you? How's life?
I'm okay, Rich friend. Life is lifing, that's for sure.
I feel
Life
that.
is lifing.
I feel that 1000%. Life is definitely lifing. Did you do anything fun this week? I went to the movies to go see Thunderbolts, and that's the new Marvel movie, the Avengers
Oh,
one, yeah, with like Bucky. It's so good. It's honestly 10 out of 10. Do
you
recommend.
liked it.
Yeah, even if you're not a Marvel fan, I do think if you watch it, you would still be able to get it. And it's very mental health based.
Okay.
Very mental health based. Like the first 5 minutes, I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, I was like, I feel this. So
Right
it was
from the beginning.
very from the first friend. I don't know if you know this about me, but I cry in the movies. Okay.
Okay.
Even when I don't go to the movies, if I'm watching a movie at home and I feel it, I will cry. I'm just
Oh,
an
same.
emotional girly when I watch.
Oh, same. I was crying last night watching Naito leave after his final match.
Best friend, and
So I
that's
get you.
valid.
Thank you. Thank you. It's definitely something that you can explain to people that aren't wrestling fans.
Mhm.
I guess if you're into your own fandom, then maybe, and if you're an emotional person, I guess you can understand. But how do you explain to non-wrestling fans that you're crying because you just saw someone have their last match? They're not dying. He hasn't even said if he's retiring. He hasn't said anything. We have so many questions, but he hasn't said much. And yet I was there like just
Years.
tears coming out. I was like,
Yeah,
so I feel you.
how do you explain to somebody that, like, you go to things to enjoy them, and you
Hmm.
feel and you experience those things.
Hmm.
So I guess some people just go through life sucking.
You know,
And-
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep it PG because I also go through life sucking. But best friend, I feel. Is anyone on yet? Uh,
Oh yeah, some people are watching. Good morning, everyone.
they're like, we're gonna stay quiet.
They're like, we're just not gonna comment, and maybe they'll move on. Maybe they'll change topics themselves.
You know
Yeah,
what? We'll move on. We'll move on.
man.
But I'm
Yeah.
so happy, best friend. I know that you love going to the movies. So when you told me that you were going to the movies, I was like, that's all on brand for her.
You said that makes sense.
That
Yeah,
makes so
so
much sense.
Teddy and we always try to coordinate, like, hey, when is the best time to record? Like, what's happening? Either Teddy's doing something in the morning or I'm doing something in the morning. And we do prefer to record like early around this time. So originally we had
Hmm.
said, hey, let's record Friday. And Teddy and I both had something to do in the morning, which I'm like, thank God, because honestly, I don't think I could have recorded that morning, best friend. Looking back on it,
No,
mm-mm,
yeah,
no, I was like,
you,
that's not happening. So
you were going through it.
I went to the movies. I'm like, oh, rest fine. Like my dad's coming home early. We like going to the movies early because we don't want to pay a lot of money. And when you go early, it's 20% off a ticket. Fun
Period.
fact. I don't know if you guys know this, or if you like to pay full price for your movies. Not me, not this girly. Okay. I will save some cash. So went to go see Thunderbolts, and I keep wanting to say Thundercats because my dad loves Thundercats.
What's
And
Thundercats?
Thundercats is like an animated show
Oh,
about like super powerful cats, I
oh no
believe.
way.
I don't know.
Okay.
I hope my uncles don't watch this one because they're gonna not like this one.
Oh, is it like an old show?
Yes.
Oh, no wonder.
It's
Okay.
like an old show. Guys, if you see me reaching over here, I'm like trying to close my curtains for the lighting. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. But yeah, so Thunderbolts, great movie. Do
Okay.
recommend this one. You and
Okay,
Sergio should go
restaurant.
watch it. Me and Mario were talking about it yesterday. Shout out to the Lucha Outsiders, but he's also a big Marvel fan. So we were just kind of, I was like, Mario, what did you think? So we're just kind of going back and forth on what our thoughts were for that movie. But people are already joining us. Good morning, Scott George, always
Morning,
here,
Scott.
always supporting us. We absolutely appreciate you. Best friend, let's
Yes.
let's start with the craziness that has been of everything that we didn't cover for our WrestleMania episode because there was literally just so much to do. I feel like
Yes.
absolutely still in recovery because I haven't even touched our C2E2 vlog, okay?
Hey, restaurant. It's okay.
There's so much going on.
No one's mad at you, I promise.
So much going on. But I did post the WrestleMania vlog. So guys, go and make sure that you are over there and giving it a like, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought about WrestleMania. But let's start with one announcement that was made during WrestleMania, and that was the addition of AAA. So I don't know what's happening, restaurant. Like, what's the situation? It's giving. Okay, let me go back to the beginning, right? So
Yeah.
this is announced for during WrestleMania weekend, and you have three people there. You have Dorian Pena, you have the president, who is Marcela Pena, and the Belief chairman. They say it's been a like years in the making collaboration or just partnership to be able to work with TKO and with WWE. The crowd was chanting lucha lucha like in the back, and I was like, yes, we have Mexico, like super excited. And Triple H said that a long time ago, he was watching Worlds Collide with Brian Pillman and William Regal. And he was just like, it was just incredible. So he said that the cultural impact that had was just amazing and that we will get that again. So they are bringing back Worlds Collide. And I'm hoping that worlds really do be colliding, okay? That
Right.
we get AAA, that we have TNA, that we have WWE, because now all those places are working together. So let's try to see what can happen. Because when AEW had announced that they were doing Forbidden Door, my biggest thing was like, oh my God, finally, they're going to work with WWE, and WWE's finally going to be like, yeah, like let's work with other companies. And just, it's only better for wrestling as a whole if these collaborations happen. I feel like AEW could have made their money, WWE could have made their money, and we could have been
Absolutely.
on our ways and had our fantastic matches. But it is what it is. So Rey Mysterio was there. You saw Penta and Rey and Stephanie on the side, and the crowd was cheering for Stephanie. Okay. I was here for it. I said, period. Who cares about everybody else?
Right? Just Stephanie.
Just Stephanie. They did cheer for Rey. For Rey Mysterio, but then they also cheer for Stephanie, and I was like, "That's what we want to see. That's
Hmm.
absolutely what we want to see." And Santos Escobar was there, the Garzas, Andrade, and Hijo del Vikingo, restaurant, which Triple H just said Vikingo is here, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute now,
What happened to El Hijo?
what happened to El Hijo? We know. I mean, I guess now we know he's just Vikingo now."
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on seeing that picture with Triple H and Vikingo? Where he was like pointing at him.
Yeah. Oh,
What
the
did
one of
you
them two
think?
together.
Yes. What did you think when you saw that photo?
I hated it. I hated it so much. I don't
Tell me
like
about it,
it,
best
but
friend. Tell me about it.
I'm not a fan of the way that obviously WWE has had history with the history of WWE in the way that they've um how do I say, what's the word? I don't want to say treated, but basically the way they've showcased lucha libre
Hmm.
and Mexicans, I know that there's been a lot of good things. We've had Rey Mysterio, we've had Andrade, we have Penta and Phoenix now. Um, I understand that we've had very good shows where they showcase, our luchadores, but at the same time, yeah, they don't have the best history when it comes to. It felt more when I heard about them collaborating and buying, I guess, AAA. It felt more like gentrification,
Oh,
to be honest with you. It really, really did. But I'm not gonna sit here and talk shit when I know that they had a show last night and I heard fantastic things. Well, not heard, I read fantastic things about it. I know people were saying that it was still really good, that it was still AAA, it was very lucha libre. So that makes me very happy. I do want to have high hopes for WWE and hoping that this is a very good thing. But the moment I heard that they were changing the name from AAA to NXT Mexico, or possibly they're going to change the name to NXT Mexico, I was like, man, this literally feels like gentrification. But I don't know, restaurant. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I am very excited about this. I am on the same boat with you that I like to be optimistic when sometimes when,
Hmm.
I hope for the best when
Hmm.
these things happen. But then I look back and I'm like, 205 Live, what happened with that? The NXT Black and Gold brand, it's not the same. And as soon as NXT kind of was promoted more as their developmental brand, things changed, right?
Yeah,
So now this partnership with TNA, I think it's going fine. I think it could be better. We did see Joe Hendry at WrestleMania, and that's absolutely fantastic. Yes.
yeah,
But I think we could be doing a little bit more. So I'm
yeah.
thinking
Same.
with this like World Collide show that maybe that's where the worlds would be colliding. But I do also want to say, like, I want Mexican talent to continue to be represented. And like we've said before, it's not the best represented in WWE. Yes, we're finally getting Penta. Yes, now we have Ray, but you literally have El Grande Americano,
Exactly.
a white man, a,
A white
a
man.
white man portraying a Mexican luchador, and LWO. Not to take anything away from them, they're not all Hispanic. They're they're not all Hispanic. We know this. We know
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So I'm hoping for the best. I don't know what other people's thoughts are on this, but as two Mexican women,
Hmm. Exactly.
I'm like on the fence. I'm very on the fence. And you know what this kind of was giving me when they bought AAA? I was like, I thought we didn't want wrestling to be a monopoly.
Right. I know. I know. That's why it was so hard for me to be positive about it or happy about it in the beginning, especially seeing that photo of Vikingo with Triple H, because we've watched Vikingo have amazing matches in AEW. And this isn't a tribalism conversation. This isn't about AEW versus WWE, but it's definitely like I just wish WWE can give us lucha libre without trying too hard to get to like when it comes to El Grande Americano. We could have not had that. We didn't need that, right? They could have pushed another luchador to do exactly what El Grande Americano is doing in a different way. We didn't need the disrespect, I guess.
Mhm.
And I can see how other people think it's not disrespect, how a lot of people are like, it's just a parody, it's funny and this and that. I don't know. It's not funny to me. Um, but at the same time, like I said, WWE has done a great job when it comes to other storylines, when it comes to luchadores. I mean, in the beginning, when LWO came back and like Bad Bunny was there and like Carlito came back, it was fun. And I was like, okay, LWO, it's gonna be the shit again. And then look at where are they? But no, I really do hope that because, like you said, I don't want to hate it. I don't want to hate lucha libre. I don't want to hate WWE as a whole. I sincerely hope that they do something very good with this, with buying AAA. Because it's not even a collaboration anymore. They legit bought the company.
Yeah, they legit bought the company, like you said, not a collaboration. And I guess to me, that's the biggest issue. Because, like I said earlier, like everyone could have just made their money, right? The Forbidden Door pay per view, I thought would have been fantastic. You could have had
Oh,
literally like the Young Bucks versus the New Day. Like that would have been
imagine.
crazy to see. There would have just been some possibilities. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah,
And I don't want them to take away opportunities from the roster of AAA to now put in different people. I do
yeah,
hope that we get to see more AAA talent in on SmackDown
yeah,
on Monday Night Raw for interviews, for social media work, for red carpets. Like I want them to be showcased in the proper light. And I know Latin Lover is over there talking, spilling Wrestfriends, spilling all the chisme because I don't know if you guys know who Latin Lover is, but I didn't know he was a professional wrestler, and of course I did not know he was in AAA wrestling. So I was fucking shook. Okay, oh,
yeah.
sorry I swore, but sorry YouTube. But I was so shook because I used to watch him on Mira quién baila or Bailando con las Estrellas, which
Oh,
is
okay.
Dancing with the Stars, and I was like, "Oh, this hunky man, who is he? What's going on?" Mind you, I was a child, okay, when he was
Yes,
on,
same. Yeah.
but everybody was like, "Oh, this is Latin Lover," and I was like, "Okay, I guess. Well, I don't know what that means. Sure." I didn't know that actually meant Latin lover.
Latin lover.
Best friend. We are so insane. Like,
No, I sincerely love that you brought up Latin lover because I too was like, I didn't know he was with AAA. Like you, when I was very, very little, I saw him on TV,
mhm.
not wrestling. I saw him on
Exactly.
TV. You know, like the El Gordo y la Flaca and shows like that back then, they had like crazier talk shows. He would be on talk shows stripping for these women, and everyone would be like, ah, Latin lover, Latin lover. So when I saw him in AAA, I was like, wait, is this the same Latin lover that my little tiny eyes were watching on TV? Going like, what's going on?
I'm yelling like, "Sir, were you a professional wrestler this whole time? This was
I
the
guess.
image?"
Oh my
So crazy.
gosh.
But he was on an interview, and I don't even remember what he said on the interview. I was just like, "Oh my god, Latin lover, sir, I forgot about you, and that you were actually there." But maybe we'll get to see him there. I don't know, on commentary, doing
Hmm.
something fun, you know. It just took me out, friend, that I was like, for sure, Latin lover. I can't. If you guys don't know who this man is, please look him up. Please. Because let me tell you, him versus Roman Reigns, I'd pay to see it.
Goodbye. Good fucking
First
bye.
friend, you know that would make money.
You know who I was thinking? I was thinking, even though this is a different company, but I was thinking more daddy ass. It would make more sense for it to be Latin lover.
First friend, that is
Right?
perfect. Okay, Forbidden
Right?
Door. First friend, that's
I'm
another
saying,
match.
no, that's fine. You're speaking facts because I'm pretty sure most of us wrestling fans are with you when we say that we would love to see WWE and AW work together. Like, why would we want to continue this whole versus thing? No, I
No, because
want
I'm paying to go to both shows either way.
it's fucking exactly. We're spending so much money on both of them, might as well collab.
The money that would be made on a goddamn souvenir cup with AEW people and with WWE people, you'll both have a tops cards. Could you imagine a little collab? Like a little, like,
That
oh my gosh.
no, that sincerely would be insane.
You know what? They're not ready for it.
No, that's the thing. They're not ready. Restaurant, they wouldn't know how to handle it.
Mm-mm.
That's why they can't do it.
They,
Triple H and Tony Khan, they would not know how to handle it.
they wouldn't. They wouldn't because we wouldn't be at the table to convince them what to do. So
You imagine us being the middle women. Like, okay, one of us talks to Triple H, another one talks to Tony. Like, we're just
and then we
going
both
back
have to
and
talk to
forth.
each other because they're not going to speak directly to each other. We're going to be like, okay, friend. Well, Tony told me this. And you'll be like, okay, well, oh, I guess it would be the opposite. Like, oh, okay, well, best friend, Triple H said this. So I don't know
Yeah,
what we want to do. We got to talk to somebody. And you'll be like,
yeah.
okay, well, Tony told me to tell him this.
And then they're gonna say something mean, and we're gonna be like, "We'll just keep that to ourselves. We won't tell."
Like, we're not going to say that. But I would tell you, be like, best friend, he said this.
Oh, restaurant the cheese man, it would be great.
It would be so good.
It would be so good.
But I'm hoping for the best with this partnership, or I guess not partnership with 'cause you can't really be partners with somebody about you. I'm just saying. It is what it is. But you know what I do want to talk about is this lady. Um
This lady,
Marcela Peña. And I
yes.
believe she's the president of AAA. She did not look at Triple H one time. It went
But-
from someone said it was gonna go from AAA to Triple H.
oh,
Oh. I can't. But first of all, fabulous to her. I don't know much about her, so I'm gonna have to do my research and my due diligence. So I can't really speak on who she is. I just
yeah.
thought it was funny that she looked at Triple H maybe one time and then she clapped for the wrestlers, and the whole other time she was like, "I'm just gonna look at the camera."
No, she just sat there and looked like she just looks like old money,
Yeah.
right? Like she doesn't have to impress anybody. She doesn't have to talk to anybody.
Do you remember? So I used to watch the show as a kid. It was called Mujer Casos de la Vida Real.
Yes.
That's who she was giving me vibes of. Is that woman who hosted that show?
Oh, Silvia, I know she
See,
died. Didn't she like pass away this
I
year?
believe so. This
Yeah.
year, let me switch my headphones.
I believe it was this year,
I don't know. It
or
was this year.
maybe last year. I don't know. It was definitely recent, but you're right, restaurant. She is giving that. She's giving that like glamour.
It was
She
like
she would wear like
classic.
her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
You're
it
so
is.
right. You're so
Shout outs
right.
to her. Shout outs to that lady. She didn't look at Triple H. Honestly, maybe I wouldn't have been able to look at Triple H either. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm gonna make eye contact. That's crazy. With Triple H?
Well,
I would
to
have been
be
so
honest
excited.
with you, like, how do the negotiations go, or is this just how this lady is? You know, I don't know
That's
anything
very
about her
true.
either.
That's very true. This either means things went terribly bad.
Right. Like, was
She didn't
she
want to sell her
forced to be
company. She's
there?
like, why am I here? But I don't know. I don't know. Also, if you guys are listening and you're not watching, we have the picture up of her and Triple H. So we do have some slideshows that accompany the video version of this podcast. So give us a little like if you appreciate the little slideshow aspect of this. Where's Troy? This is my question. He loves our slideshows.
I've missed him. Yeah, he hasn't been on
I'm
here
gonna
for a
watch this
while.
later and be like, "Oh, I can't believe I missed the slideshow." Um Let's talk about some other stuff that has been happening in WWE. So not only did they purchase AAA, so we'll see how that goes, but interessante that after this purchase, now we started to get people being released again.
Yeah.
And not only that, but this is right after you brought in Malachi Black. This is after you brought back Rusev. So this is after you were saying astronomical things about WrestleMania of how much money you made and how much you guys earned. And now we are releasing people. So let's talk about a couple of people who were released. I have the names here. So Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance. And these are from the main roster. The next group of names is from NXT. So we have Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Eddie Thorpe, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Wolfgang, Danny Palmer, uh, who's it? One of the women in the metaphor, Jakara Jackson.
Hmm.
Say her name right? I believe so. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Man, there's just like what's going on? What I was very confused. What was your initial thought when did you find out that people were being released?
I think immediately when they started, I literally got on Twitter and I
Mhm.
saw like literally a couple minutes before I got on, people were tweeting that they had released who were the first people that they announced were released?
I'm not sure like
Oh,
what the
Dakota
names
Kai
were.
for
Oh,
sure was one of the
Dakota,
first
I
ones.
think. Yeah.
And Dakota and Shayna. And I was like, what? That for me was like, what? I wasn't I want to say that I was what's it called, a little bit shocked that they were doing it again, but at the same time we're so used to it. This isn't the first time that we get on online and we see that WWE has let go of people because of, what is it? What is their excuse? Budget cuts, they
Budget
say?
cuts, which doesn't make any sense because to me, like you have a contract for these wrestlers. You know how much you're paying them. Honor that contract and then just don't renew it if that's how you want to cut your budget. That would
Yeah.
make more sense. These wrestlers get a contract at the beginning of the year. Let's say, if it was any other worker, you would be able to sue and be
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, we have a contract. This is what you said you were doing, and you are not honoring that. Then here comes an employment lawyer and is
Hmm.
like, hey, this is what the company said they were going to do. And as an employee, this is what you were going to do. You held up your end of the bargain. Why can't the company hold up theirs? And that's just an issue within the company, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is with TKO because I know that yes, this is a WWE thing, but the prices are now on TKO.
Yeah.
Insane. Insane because WrestleMania prices out of this world. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not even going to tell you how much I paid for my WrestleMania ticket.
Oh my
Um
gosh, best friend.
it's insane. It's literally insane and I know not to do that again. But in my mind I was like I got this. It's justified. Yes, I'm going to pay for it. And that should tell you all that I said I'm going to pay for it. And not that I paid for it.
Hey,
So,
best friend, I know you're not the only one. I know a lot of people were talking. I saw a lot of tweets of people on Twitter that were like, my ticket is going to pay in four. They're going to pay that
mhm,
shit in four because I saw the prices for some of those seats and
mhm,
I couldn't believe it. I at first when I saw people tweeting about the prices, I was like, it's going to be in the thousands, right? Couple, maybe 5 grand for a ringside. I was not expecting all those zeros when I saw the prices
mhm.
of those seats. And I saw also people comparing their I wish I would have saved the tweet, but I saw someone comparing their ticket from when they went to a Monday Night Raw
Oh yeah, like back
a
in the
year
days or
ago or so.
something.
I think it was like a year ago or something. And they're trying to buy another ticket for that same like stadium Monday Night Raw, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And the price difference is crazy. It's for a Monday Night Raw, mind you. It's not a for a PLE. It's for a Monday Night Raw. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing with this.
I don't know what they're doing. It's frustrating. Um, because like I think of people like Shayna Baszler, right? We
Mm-hmm.
wanted so much for her, and I feel like they just didn't know what to do with her, which is I think the deal with a lot of people who were kind of let go. You just didn't really know what to do with them. Gigi Dolan, I think they were trying to push her, and it wasn't really working out. But there's just so many other ideas that you could have gone with. And I do kind of see, hey, there's so many people on your roster, and you have to have 5 ideas for each person on the roster, right? Um,
Yeah.
and that's a writer's thing. Like, you need more people backstage to be able to deal with as many people as you have at in any roster in WWE. I'm thinking about again, Shayna, when Ronda Rousey was there, and what we really wanted was her to fight Ronda Rousey every week, and we were not getting that. And
Yeah.
Shayna was not displayed other than like on TikTok when I would watch her, and every Monday she would make a stew. Like that's the thing. She goes on TikTok, she makes her stew 10 out of 10. But I'm like, I want to see her in the ring. I don't want to see her TikToks backstage. I mean, I do, but also put her in the ring.
Yeah.
Um, Dakota Kai, I go back to thinking when I saw her in the Mae Young Classic, and that's really when I fell in love with her. I was like, who is this woman? Really captivative. I was like, she's badass. That kick that she has is insane. And we just never elaborated on her shine in that tournament. And yes, she was in Damage Control. Yes, she was in so many other good matches, but I feel like you just didn't really pitch her like she
Yeah.
she could have been pitched. But what
Yeah.
are your thoughts on these releases?
No, I agree with you, best friend. I absolutely agree with you. I think it's like, especially talking about someone like Shayna Baszler, to me that was the most shocking.
Mm,
Um, because we've seen Shayna Baszler be better than basically the other women that they were trying to put over her, right? Or Ronda Rousey, like you said.
yeah.
So to me, I don't want to be mean and agree with what people were tweeting,
First
but
one, you could be mean.
there's other wrestlers on there that aren't doing anything, and when they have been given the opportunity to do something where none of us are really into it.
Mhm.
Not saying they should have been released, because I don't think anybody should have been released. I think that's so sad, especially finding out that most of the time when these people are being released, they just give them either a quick phone call or they find out through other people first, and then they get a phone call not to come in. That I can't imagine how that feels. But Shayna Baszler, yeah, no, that for me, mm-mm.
Scott says that TKO is using WWE record profits to pay down their debts, I think. Maybe. This better not be a Joanne Fabrics thing, because let me tell you, first friend. So Joanne Fabrics, has recently gone out of business or gone bankrupt, and all their stores are going to close. Mind you, that is the best craft store ever in my whole life. During the
Yeah.
pandemic, that's where me and my mom would go because my mom was making masks, and that's where she would get all her fabric. And they had a variety like you could not even imagine what was,
Mm-hmm.
but they were bought out by a private company, and
Mm-hmm.
that private company put all of their debt from previous businesses onto Joanne Fabrics, and
What
that's why
happened?
yes, that's why Joann's went out of business, because they couldn't afford to pay all of those debts. Their profit was not surpassing the debt that was put on them. So that's what people are saying a lot of companies are doing. Like the private companies are buying these smaller businesses, smaller in terms of not as big as them, because I feel like Joann's was pretty big. But then when those profits can't be made, then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just say that that business was not a success, but our businesses are still good because our debts are covered. So let's hope that this is not something like this, that TKO has debt and they're like, hey, mind you, we're all speculating. This is speculation
Mm-hmm.
on Scott's thing. But man, what is this? What's happening?
That, I hate capitalism. I hate it. You know, that angers me. Like when you talked about what you said about Joanne's, and like the thought about TKO possibly doing that. I was going to say myself, Like, what are they? To me, when it comes to like when we were talking about the ticket prices and everything, how is this logical at all? Like, when all of your viewers, your fans, the people that that love this product are telling you on Twitter, on Instagram, on podcasts and everything, like, hey, we can't afford to attend your shows. What like what's your end goal here?
Mhm.
It makes me feel like they're trying to turn WWE into something like the UFC, like something where only people that can afford to go are going to be able to go,
Yeah.
and where they're just going to be having celebrities all the time. That's what it feels like.
Hmm.
And I hope not. I hope I'm wrong, because I already don't like the feeling that when WWE comes here, we don't go to the shows. I'm always like, oh man, like, damn, we really are not gonna go to a WWE show. But I'm like, no, I'm not gonna spend my money there, because I know we're going to spend way more than $200
So,
for our seat.
oh, absolutely. And for like mid seats for
For mid seats,
a
exactly.
Friday night SmackDown or a Monday night Raw.
And I was
And
gonna say, and I'm sorry, for a mid show as well. Like, no, I'm good.
I know the shows that we've gone to, most of them, I feel like we've been blessed to not pay for, um,
Hmm.
to get them comped. But man, the ones that we do pay for, I'm like, Jesus, this is crazy. And people, this is not just us going, families are going.
Yeah.
4 people, 5 people, and the kids, they're buying their belts, their T-shirts, but it's I feel like it's not an often thing. I feel like people aren't going every time the show comes. That's a lot of money, and that's just
Hmm.
saying for WWE, all these other wrestling companies. But let me tell you, the prices for because I'm doing AEW for All in
Hmm.
Texas, I could easily buy 2 floor seats, maybe 3 floor seats, um, for the price that was being advertised for, like, Mania, for a, like, 200, 300 level seat. Like, that's insane.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
That's how I feel about that. Honestly, that made me tired of
Right.
the conversation.
You know what? Well, it's because also, how many times do we have to talk about this? Like I said, WWE, your fans are trying to tell you, like, we love the product, we
Mhm.
want to be there, um, but you're making it impossible for a lot of us. Not for
Yeah.
Edie, she was at WrestleMania. You're lucky you had Edie there.
You barely had me there, okay?
You're like, I barely made it.
I barely made it.
It was only because of John Cena too. So,
Yes. So, thank John Cena for that. Man.
oh
Deadpool Nerd,
man,
thanks so much for joining us. He says, they say WWE already feels like UFC with all the celebrity crowd shots, whereas before it'd be once in week, where now it's every week. Man,
and to me, the reason why it also gives UFC is because they're giving us all these men that we don't give a shit about. I'm sorry, YouTube, like Edie said, we don't care about these men. A lot of them are right wingers. A lot of them, like, who cares? Why are they showing us these men that have nothing to do with professional wrestling? I don't know, restaurant. They need to quit that. They need to stop. Seriously, they need to start catering to us again.
yes, no, I believe you. I do think that TKO is trying to make WWE more like its UFC shows, more kind of like boxing, as
Hmm.
well,
Hmm.
where, like yesterday was the Canelo fight. And of course, you have so many artists, you have so many celebrities, you have people paying for the VIPs, you have it being such like an exclusive thing, right? And an
Yeah,
expensive exclusive thing at that.
expensive.
So, who's your target audience? I feel like they're trying to have their target audience also be people who watch MMA, people who watch
Yeah,
UFC. And let me tell you, families are not going to UFC. The little
yeah.
kids are not going to are not wearing their favorite fighters t-shirts, are not wearing replica championship belts. They're not talking about it on social media. Like, it's the grown-ups who are really
Hmm.
pushing MMA and are pushing boxing and stuff like that. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. I could be wrong. There could be kids in the crowd, but I'm not saying look at the WWE crowd and look at
Yeah,
the crowd who's over there, and then you make that comparison. So
yeah.
that's
I hear you,
what
restaurant.
I was saying about that. Shout outs
No,
to
I
Eddie
hear you.
James saying hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching. I don't know.
True.
Depending on where
For
you're
real. I
Yes.
didn't restaurant, I don't even think about that sometimes. It could be someone from Korea. It's like
I love how
tomorrow over there already.
I love how that was your first thing. You could have said like Canada,
Germany, I guess I'll say.
You said Korea. That's where they're
It's
watching
because
us.
it's because you know what? I know what time it is over there. That's why.
Is it like early, like now?
No restaurant. So it's like 14, I think it's like 14 hours. They're 14 or 15 hours ahead.
Oh my god.
So it's definitely
I
already
thought you were gonna
midnight
just
over
like
there.
I thought you were gonna say like military time where you were like, it's like 14 o'clock, and I was like 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. over there.
Oh, I don't know military time restaurant. I don't know my Roman numerals. Is that what they're called?
Yes.
And I don't know the military time. I don't know how to tell time like that. I used to because I used to work at a grocery store.
Mm.
Um, and then when I quit, I guess I forgot. I don't re- I don't know how many more numbers.
First one,
But
once it hits like 12 in the afternoon, whatever time it is just add 12 to it. So si son las 2 de la tarde, it's now 14 because ya pasaron las 12.
okay, that makes sense right now. Will I
Okay.
remember that
No,
later?
and
I don't know.
the only reason I know that is because radio, so we have to use military time sometimes to put in
Oh,
times when we log them. So I know what
that
time my show starts and I know what time my show ends.
that's probably how you can tell I'm your unemployed rest friend. Like, I don't know.
Because you don't know military time? God, no,
Restaurant,
respect.
everyone around me knows how to tell military time. And I'm like, you know what? They have jobs. So maybe that's the thing. Like this just literally when I quit that grocery store job, like I haven't been able to tell military time ever since. So
Mm. I don't think that's a correlation, but we'll go with it.
okay.
Let's talk about one of your favorite people. Wait, hold on. Going back to the releases, I was gonna talk about who did I write notes on? Who did I write? Oh, Katana Chance. Katana
Mhm.
Chance. And I do want to talk about her really
Yes.
quick because she used to be Casey Catanzaro, and I do believe they changed her name like 2 times when she was on NXT. But she was the first a women's American Ninja Warrior. So
Mhm.
she competed in the qualifying course. She was the first woman to pass that. And I believe she competed in there. I'm not gonna say ages, but it was very impressive. It was very impressive for a woman of her size to be the first woman to be able to um complete that course. And if you don't know what American Ninja Warrior is, it's literally insane. It's just this huge obstacle course, and a whole bunch of men try to do it, and a whole bunch of women try to do it, and it's very difficult. I believe Nikki Bella did it one time, and
Yeah.
some other WWE superstar. But if you've never seen it, definitely go on YouTube and like just watch like American Ninja Warrior qualifying course or something, because it's literally insane. You have to go up like this 13-foot wall. You have to flip through water. You have to climb like back and forth through stuff, and like just it's a lot of physical work.
Yeah.
And she didn't seem like the type of person, like the body build that would be able to do that, and she was. And to be the first woman to do that, that was just such an accomplishment. And I know in WWE they kind of talked about it a little bit, that I don't think it was pushed as to the importance. And I don't know
Mhm.
if maybe they just didn't know what to do with her because of her size, because she was on a smaller frame. But man, her and her tag team partner, who, hold on, I'm for blanking on her name right now. Literally blanking. Kaden Carter.
Hayden Carter.
He they were fantastic, and anytime I saw them in the ring together, they were so innovative
Mhm.
that they did. Very entertaining. But again, I
Mhm.
feel like you didn't have them on TV weekly, and you weren't really showcasing them like they should be showcased. So it's unfortunate that now they're let go. I do think that if they choose to go in the indies, they're gonna kill it. They're gonna
Yeah,
kill it.
absolutely.
They're fantastic, phenomenal. But man, I was just like, "Ugh, really?" And I was just kind of upset that you never put any respect on her name. Like, not you, but like people never put, that's fine. You know,
Me like, oh.
that like people didn't put like respect on her name. Because like for me, I watch so much TV. I love TV. So I was like, she's an American Ninja Warrior. Like the disrespect is crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel your from when they signed her, around the time that they signed her, I was also obsessed with that show.
Mm,
I forgot what was on TV at the same time that that would come out. I don't know if I was watching the challenge. I
mm,
just remember that something I was watching something on TV, and as soon as it would be over, I would change it and I would watch American Ninja Warrior.
mm.
So when I saw them sign her, I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And I as well. I think her and her tag team partner Kaden are also
Mhm.
very good. They're definitely the type of women in wrestling that are going to entertain us in the ring.
Absolutely.
So I definitely agree with some fans that were saying that sometimes it feels like WWE goes after, just cheap booze. I mean cheap booze, cheap cheers and clapping,
Mhm.
and they don't care about their actual employees, that some of their employees that actually do put a lot of work in the ring.
Yes. It's
Um,
crazy. It's
and
crazy.
it really
And I know
sucks.
before we started recording, I was also talking about Eddie Thorpe, and I was like, "Wristfriend, did you know this man was in New Japan?" Because we had just found this out.
Yeah, you were telling me this fun fact.
Yes, fun fact, he was the winner of the 2019 Young Lion Cup, and he was trained by Shibata, which I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And this is
Yeah.
where I also worlds collide, right? Like, I think no matter what company you're working for, mention who they were trained by. That adds
That's a
stuff.
cool fact. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool fact. You can talk about New Japan. I don't know, that might be like a thing in like the contracts that like TV, like you can't mention New Japan Pro Wrestling or something like that. So that might be like on a TV deal side of things. But I think that's cool. That's cool to know. If people were watching NXT and they didn't know who Eddie Thorpe was, but now they're like, hey, yeah, he was in New Japan and he was the winner of this tournament of this cup in 2019. I would have been like, oh my God, because I know I was impressed. I was impressed. And honestly, it's a little racist, okay? To let him go. An indigenous man. What? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sexist that you let the women go. Oh my God. Double negatives. Double negatives today. Okay, now we
We
can move on.
shouldn't have let any of these people go.
Yes. All right. Let's Scott saying Carl Fredericks. That's exactly who he was. Shout outs to William Rivera saying, happy Sunday, may the fourth be with you. And I do want to talk about May the fourth
Oh.
because yesterday my coworker, he was like, "Oh, I have a funny meme. He's like, are you gonna celebrate tomorrow for May the 4th?" And I was like, let me stop you right there. I don't watch Star Wars. I don't know anything about Star Wars. Haven't seen anything. I was like, my dad tried to get me to watch them when I was a kid. Didn't see a single one of them. And then he was like, oh, and he didn't really know what to do. And I was like, you can show me the meme anyway. I'm just not gonna know it. He shows me the meme, don't know what any of it means. And then he was like, kind of disappointed. I wasn't, because why would you show me a Star Wars meme? No disrespect to people who love the Star Wars movie. May the force be with you. That was just my experience yesterday. That's what just happened. That was just a job story that happened to me yesterday.
I love that. No offense to the Star Wars. May the fourth be with you. I love that. No, seriously, back at you. May the fourth be with you, Star Wars fans. I only know a little bit. My cousin, my prima, who's not here with us anymore, may she rest in peace. She tried getting me into it, and I'm not gonna lie, it was entertaining,
Mm.
but I was very confused, like every other non-Star Wars fan, as to like why she's telling me that we're watching the first movie, but it's not the first part. That the movies that come on later are actually the first part. I was like, wait, what do you mean? That makes no sense to me. And I don't know, Star Wars lore is crazy. There's just so much.
It's crazy, and I think that that's why it also took me so long to, like, get into, because first of all, my dad was like, "Yeah, we have to watch the trilogy," and I was like, "Already 3 movies? No."
Exactly, best friend. And they're long. There's
Yes,
so much information. To me, when it comes to, I put Star Wars, Star Trek, and The Hobbit. No, Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings, Lord of the
Rings.
Rings, all of that. I put them all in the same category because I know nothing about them. There's just so much information for me. People try to explain the lore for all three of those, and I'm like, you
It's
lost
a
me.
lot. It's a lot of lore. I get it. To me, I can compare it to the Walking Dead, and how there's literally a season of Walking Dead, and then there's a season before Fear the Walking Dead, and then you have 3 other spin-off shows that go with that. And if I had told somebody, "Hey, yeah, let's watch Before the Walking Dead, and then you're going to watch 7 seasons of The Walking Dead, and then you're going to watch 3 more seasons with new shows coming out," they would have looked at me like I was fucking insane. So I feel like that's the only show that I can compare it to that I've watched forever. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
craziness.
yeah. I'm trying to think what show I know or movie, whatever. I know that it's like that, but I can't remember.
It's so
Whatever.
crazy. I used to work at Urban Outfitters for a little bit, and my manager, she had a Star Wars tattoo, and it was just all of the movies in order, in like what order you should
But
watch them in. It was just like, and she had them in Roman numerals. And I was like, "What's all the like? What is the meaning for all the Roman numerals?" And she's like, "Oh, that's the order for Star Wars that like I prefer to watch them in. And I'm like, that is insane.
Oh,
And that's
like the
deep.
names of the movies, like the
No,
titles,
just the
tattoo.
Roman numerals, just like
Oh, just the
1,
Roman
5. Yep.
numerals.
Hmm.
So basically, like only she knew what they meant until
Yep.
someone asked her what that.
Yep.
Okay, you know what?
I respect it.
Which,
I
yeah,
respect it.
no, not judging here. This is a safe space.
Yes. Let's move on to one of your favorite people. We're gonna talk about
Yeah,
Bailey.
Bailey.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the recent interview with Chris Van Vliet. But he honestly always has great interviews, 10 out of 10. I think he really
Yes,
knows how to speak with the wrestlers, but I also think the wrestlers trust him enough to kind of open up and let their guards down. And I feel like when you're interviewing somebody, it's a give and take, right? You have to be on it as an interviewer, but if you are also willing to be open as an interviewee, the interview can really go somewhere. And that's why you get interviews like this, because when people go to Chris Van Vliet, they know, hey, I'm going to open up a little bit more. I'm going to chat a little bit more. I'm just going to relax into it. And that's when you can really get like these really cool answers, these really heartfelt moments. So shout outs to him because he really knows what he's doing, but also to the
absolutely.
wrestlers for opening up to him. Um, so he recently interviewed Bailey and he was talking to her about how the audience doesn't really give her the respect that he thinks that she deserves. And she kind of starts talking about how, that she does see it, how the crowd responds to her, and she does see what they say on social media. And she thinks to herself, what am I missing? And that's crazy to think, right? Because, he kind of also
Bailey.
goes back and forth with her of like, yeah, like it's crazy because you're a Grand Slam champion. Like, do you think of yourself as a Grand Slam champion? Like, are you? And she's like, well, I don't know. There's so many new titles right now. I haven't held those titles, so technically, I'm not a Grand Slam champion. Well, she is, which she is.
Yeah,
You can't take that title away from her, no matter how many other titles
exactly.
they bring out. But I guess maybe now if she wins the United States Championship, then she would be a Grand Slam champion again. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Um, She's been wrestling for 16 years, and she says that she doesn't feel like she's on the same level as Charlotte or Becky, which is crazy because she says
Crazy.
they came up together. She says she got signed before Becky, that she fought Charlotte so many times. She had an amazing match against Mercedes, against Sasha when they were on NXT. And I know that's a match that you hold near and dear to your heart. Um,
Yes.
then she says that, she takes advice from TJ backstage, from Tyler Breeze. She won the Rumble and she wasn't at the press conference. This is all stuff that they talk about in the interview, and that she doesn't, get to do the talk shows, but she says the communication is there. She has great communication with Triple H, but she's just always thinking herself like, what do I need to do to get there, to get to where Becky is, to get to where Charlotte is? And again, this is crazy because, like we said, they are the 4 horsewomen. Look at where Mercedes is now in her career. Look at where Charlotte is in her career, and Becky. And then you look at Bayley. Bayley has the same amount of accolades, the same fantastic matches, but she is often the last member that people think about of
She's
like,
overlooked a lot.
yeah, she's especially like when you think about like the 4 horsewomen, where would you
Hmm.
place them in order? Like Bailey for a lot of people is at the very bottom, and it's insane. So that, and it was literally, I had only watched that little clip, so I can only imagine what the rest of the conversation was like. But she says that she is not one to say no, I'm not doing that. And she says that she learned that from Rey Mysterio and from John Cena, to whatever they give you is just go with it and take it and make it work. She's not one to say, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm Bailey. I'm not going to do that. And she had even said in the interview, oh, wait till you, or wait till this, or she didn't really want to elaborate. And Chris was like, what does that mean? And everyone else took it to me, and I was like, that's when they were going to take her out of WrestleMania. That's when they were going to, like, that's when she was attacked backstage and kind of like written off for a little bit. So we don't know what went into that, but it's sad to see that, Bailey also think like, hey, this is where my peers were and I'm not there. Is it something I'm doing? What's happening? What are your initial thoughts on everything that's going on with Bailey?
No, I'm with you, best friend. It's crazy to me that it's also crazy to me that Bailey said what she said about her like not being at the same level as the other women. I feel like the first mistake we made as fans when it comes to the four horsewomen is that a lot of people immediately started to compare them immediately the moment that they were put together and started being called the four horsewomen. People were already comparing them, you know, that Charlotte was better than all of them, or that Sasha had better charisma than all of them. And they've all had different stages in their career, obviously, where they've had, you know, they've held different titles, they've accomplished different things in the company. And now Sasha slash Mercedes outside of WWE, they've accomplished so many different things that hearing Bailey say that she's not on their level, like it's crazy. Because Bailey, what do you mean? You've done your own thing. Like we've mentioned before, she carried WWE on her back, her and Sasha did during the pandemic. Um, I it made me very sad when I saw that clip and I heard her say that, like basically comparing herself to them. But also when she said that I forgot exactly how she worded it, but basically like maybe her mistake was, you know, not being too pushy, not saying no
Mhm.
to anything, basically being a good girl.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot recently. I've heard that a lot from so many women, not just in professional wrestling, that say things like that. That they're like being a good person, being, you know, a good employer, whatever, wasn't really getting me anywhere. You don't want to be problematic, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I guess not everyone wants to be problematic. I guess they don't want to come off as problematic. They're there to work. Bailey definitely comes off as someone as she's there to work. And like she says, she doesn't say no to anything. I can see how easy it would be for the company to be like, well, you know, she's not going to complain,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
them
cut her
to be like,
match.
"Oh, whatever we give her, she'll do it," right?
Hmm.
It's crazy
Um,
because she does say that Triple H really does like, she has that communication with him, like, that it works, and that Triple H really listens to the crowd. He says a lot of the stuff that was with Damage Control, like, he'd be like, "Hey, okay, like, let's we're gonna do this, but we'll see how the audience reacts to it. Let's see how they take to it." And that was, like, an
yeah.
important thing for him, and we have seen moments like that, recently with Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. He recently did an interview. Dom was talking about how, oh, like why they asked him like why he went back into the ring to celebrate. Like, where did that come from? And he's like, oh, like I got word while I was going back that Triple H said I should go back in the ring one more time. So Triple H was backstage, of course, watching everything and seeing the reaction that Dominic was getting. And there's a video that came out afterwards, a fan video of WrestleMania, and Dominic is on the ramp and he's like celebrating, and the cameraman's like telling him like, wait up, like just stand right there for a little bit. And like the cameraman tells him like, you can say that things are being communicated, and then he's like, hey, wait, and then he's like, okay, now. And then he told Dom to turn around, and then he followed Dom back into the ring. But like these are
Hmm.
moments that of course he felt was like, hey, we need more of this. The crowd is reacting to this, like, let's go in this direction with the story, because maybe he didn't think that people were going to cheer Dom, and now it is what it is. Same thing with Damage Control. Maybe he didn't think they were going to get that much of a great reaction, so he pivoted to another thing. But I do think I agree with you in sense of like maybe they did get a little bit complacent with Bailey because she didn't say no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she ever thought of herself as someone who was able to do that. Um, but again, if I'm a wrestler and John Cena and Rey Mysterio are like, hey, whatever they give you, you do it. You don't complain. You put your head down. You keep working. Because you look at Rey Mysterio and you look at John Cena, they're in Hall of Famers, Hall of Famers, really influential people in the industry. How are you not going to take advice from them, right? And when,
Hmm.
as a woman, do you think, hey, I'm going to step up for myself? That's also got to be like a big issue too. Um, but again, going back to who Charlotte is and who she portrays herself to be, and who Becky is, and who Sasha or who Mercedes is, it's just a lot. And I don't know what I would do if I was in her position, because
Yeah.
she's done it all.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Exactly.
If that connection isn't there with the fans, if there's a miscommunication somewhere, I don't even know if you would call it like a miscommunication, right? It's like
Right.
something was lost. Something was lost somewhere there in translation. I
And
don't
and
know
you
what
know
it
what
is.
This is where my chismosa side comes out because it
Mm.
does make me wonder what's going on backstage and what's being said. Like how, it makes you wonder, okay, so was Charlotte pushed because that's who they think should be pushed, or was it because she's vocal and she goes back there and tells them, this is what I want, and if you guys don't give me this, then I just don't want to do this or something. We saw, I mean, we didn't see, but we were there witnessing when Sasha slash Mercedes and Naomi walked away. They walked out of WWE, and we've heard of so many wrestlers um, being vocal backstage and letting them know what it is that they want. That now that Bailey says she doesn't, and she just does her job, it's like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense that she said that, and I'm glad she said that too, because that hopefully that teaches her, like, she's already, hopefully she already herself starts to like speak up, because
Mhm.
Bailey's a star. Bailey should be back there saying, you know what, put me here, because it's Bailey. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to put that. I understand that a lot. It took a lot of people. I know that it was very hard for a lot of people to connect to her character when she was, with the ponytail, with the side ponytail and everything, the I'm a hugger thing. But the fact is that Bailey's very good in the ring. Bailey is one of the best women's wrestler in WWE and in wrestling. So for her to go and do this interview and she looks so sad, and I'm very, like, I know you were talking about Chris, and I'm very thankful to him for the way that he asks questions, because he's very careful. He doesn't come off as like, give me the cheese man. He comes off as like, talk to us, how do you feel? And yeah, that whole interview for me, Bailey, she was just like, you could tell she was a little down.
Yeah.
There was probably a lot she wanted to say that she couldn't. um, but yeah, it was fun. I don't know. It's so crazy to think as a wrestling fan what could come out of this though. Like
Yeah.
whether she decides to stay in WWE until her contract is up or after her contract is up or not, it still makes you like, what's gonna happen? Because whether Bailey stays or not though, how crazy is it to think that as of right now, we're not gonna get anything with the four horsewomen, right? Anything with
That
them
pissed me
together.
off. That was a
Because
wrestler.
Bailey,
We talk
no,
about
go
this all
ahead.
the time. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying because Becky and Charlotte don't get along. Apparently, they're doing interviews talking about how they don't like each other anymore. And I'm like, at what point is this kayfabe? I feel like this is very real. They really do talk like they just don't like each other anymore. And when we start, not when we started watching wrestling, right? We started watching wrestling when we were little. But when the four horsewomen were hot, they all talked about how they were besties, and they were always taking these photos together, looking so happy together. We don't get that anymore. So yeah.
That's one of the biggest things that pisses me off, that we didn't get to see the four
Yeah.
horsewomen versus Ronda Rousey versus Marina Shafir versus Shayna Baszler. I know there was another woman in there. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting her name right now. But this is missed opportunity again. And now there's rumors of Evolution 2 happening again with all the women. This is some
Mm-hmm.
place that they could have been showcased. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I posted on Twitter, there people are hiring for Evolution. WWE is hiring for Evolution for that, like, to work at the merch stands or whatever. And I was like, oh, for Evolution 2? Like, is this for real confirmed that it's happening? So I don't know if people caught that, but I was, because I'd be looking at jobs every now and then of like, hey, what's out there? What's happening? Um, but yeah, I was like, oh, interessante. That's up. But man, whatever their relationship is now, I feel like they could reunite. They could,
Right.
right? Like,
You got this.
you guys, let me tell you, however people feel about them individually, if they all showed up together as a force horsewomen, you're telling me people wouldn't jizz their pants? They would.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there, I'd
They
be there.
would, because we would probably jizz our pants. Shout outs
No,
to, okay, look who's finally on. I am
Troy, we were
so excited.
talking about you.
Troy, we really were talking about you guys. Everybody go follow Joshi Journals on YouTube. 10 out of 10 content. That's where I get all of my Joshi news. It says, guys, I'm back, but do you think it could also be the horsewomen in general and not just Bailey, where there's enough new girls in this era, but can take their role up as top guys like Io, Bianca, Liv, Rhea? Yeah, there's just so many women. But let's talk about this, because
Yeah.
someone also in the comments did mention Liv, and they're bringing up a lot of NXT women to the main roster in order to fill up some spots that are happening. So Bailey, we don't know what's going on with her, right? Liv, she's gonna go film a movie, and I know someone in the comments mentioned that
Right.
about the movie, and we'll talk about that really briefly because I don't really know too much info about that. But she's gonna leave for a little bit to go film the movie. So as a tag team champion right now, does that mean she's relinquishing the title when she's going into filming? What's going into that? Rhea Ripley, Buddy had said in an interview like they're ready to start a family soon. What does soon mean? Does that mean
Mm-hmm.
Rhea's gonna be out? So Stephanie Vaquer is being brought up into the main roster. And I believe 2 other NXT girls are also being brought up. I'm not sure who those names were, but if you guys can remember, I'll put it down in the comments. But man, I don't know. This women's division,
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts, so many thoughts, so many ideas.
No,
This
yeah.
Jade
There's
Naomi feud, it's oh god.
yeah, no, it's true. I definitely understand what Troy is saying because I think that one of the things that we don't like that WWE has done before, or that does a lot, is that they keep bringing us the same people. They keep giving us the matches with the same people. AEW too, by the way. I feel like any
Yeah.
company does this. Every company does this. They keep giving us the same matches, like against the same people, people going against each other. And I guess it's okay when the matches are good, but at the same time, there's so many people that you have backstage that should be out there also wrestling. And you're right, like we couldn't have the 4 horsewomen forever, obviously.
Mhm.
Other women deserve the spotlight, like Troy said. So yeah, I don't know, I do wonder what I know that there's so much, I'm gonna say, lore behind the
Mm.
scenes that we don't know about. And I don't know, best friend, there's
I
so much,
mean,
like you said, there's just so much to say about this. There's so much we can go to, so many different directions.
we really can. It's crazy. I do want to really talk about this Liv Morgan thing since we are on the topic. I remember somebody brought it up in the comments. William Rivera, thanks so much. Speaking of movies, any comments on Liv and her new movie role in Japan? Yeah, so she is going to be taking some time off. Liv Morgan is going to film the hit international market. It's going to be at Canes, I believe. It's called Bad Lieutenants Tokyo. So I don't know how long she's going to be filming for. I don't know if she's already filmed some stuff, what's happening with that, but she's, I guess, going to be off um for a little bit. Shout outs to her because I know a lot of women in wrestling, they do also want to start going into movies as they should. As they should.
Uh-huh. Hell yeah, restaurant. When before we found out what she was gonna be doing, a lot of people were saying Harley Quinn, and I was like,
Mm.
that would have been crazy. That would have been so crazy. But I'm happy for Liv. It sounds like, I mean, it's a movie where she's not just gonna be in the background,
Yeah.
she's gonna be
But
one of the main stars. So
I hope she's good. I hope she's good. Shout outs to
I
her.
hope she's
Uh,
good.
I hope she's good in the money amounts in the movie and in wrestling. So I know it's a
Yes.
tough game out there. Temple Plays is saying Eddie Thorpe will go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling as Carl Fredericks and will join the Bullet Club War Dogs because before he went to NXT, he was pitched to be a part of the group. Thoughts? I don't hate it.
Okay.
I don't
I
hate it.
mean, either
Are the War Dogs
uh
David Finley?
yes.
Okay, I approve.
You approve.
I approve.
If he's with David Finley, I approve, you said.
You gotta tell me that's all I gotta hear. Sure.
I know last night, was it last night or was it the night before? I forgot their faction name, but Evil has like a little faction
Mm.
within the Bullet Club, but they were kicked out. I believe they had a match and they were kicked out. So you know what? They're gonna be bringing more people to the Bullet Club. I mean, I don't care. It'll be good.
They'll bring us in eventually, Russ friend. They'll bring us in eventually. To Bullet.
Restaurant. You know what? When I started watching New Japan, that's when the Young Bucks were and Cody were over there. There was like the hottest thing ever. It was so cool. I kid you not. I used to have little scenarios in my head here and there. Me coming out with them.
Russ friend. I
They
thought we all
needed
did that.
they needed a woman. They definitely needed a woman. No, for sure. I did it when I was small all the time, but as a grown woman, I was also doing it.
Can I tell you, I was just thinking about this the other day and I was like, "Ugh, I can't believe I was really like 7 years old thinking I was going to be the permanent mixed tag team partner of John Cena and Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, me.
Mm.
Yep.
I was like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whenever they do mixed tag team work, I'm gonna be the one that's right there. I remember when
Same,
Maria
best
came out
friend.
with Jeff Hardy, that was the biggest moment in my life, as friend.
That is so cute. No, I think I used to picture myself coming out dressed like Ashley because I really
Period.
loved her gear.
Mhm.
And I would be next to Shawn Michaels every time. If there was ever a time where Shawn Michaels was in the ring getting beat up, I used to be like, man, I would come out if I was there and help him.
You said this would be the perfect opportunity for me now to go in there and help.
Yes, I thought I was going to be Shawn Michaels' manager forever. House
Absolutely.
of Torture. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you so much, Scott, keeping us on track. Scott knows what's going on. He's like,
If
Sean said she's going to be back mid-May. Thank you, because I don't
Thank
know
you
what my
so much.
boss
If
says.
it's not Sergio, it's Sean giving us all the facts. Thank you so much.
OMG, speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Zack Sabre Jr. is coming back to Manila in a couple weeks with El Fantasmo. I have a story for you.
Okay.
Troy, I have a story for you. I'll hit you up in the DMs from Vegas.
Now that we're talking about Zack Sabre
Now we're
Jr.
talking about Zack Sabre Jr. I have a story for you. All right, let's move on and talk about I guess not move on then. Let's continue to talk about New Japan. There we go. I'm trying to get the slides together. Rest friend, what's going on in New Japan?
Naito and Bushi had their last match last night. and I
Let's
know that I
hear it.
said and I know that I said in the beginning of the podcast that we didn't know what was going on. I actually just saw look, I saw their match. I was awake for it. It was about to be 3 in the morning, rest friend. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. So the match was okay. It was more of like obviously showing Naito for the last time, his entrance for the last time,
Mhm,
getting in the ring and like he didn't even do the roll call this time. He wasn't even the one that won the match. He didn't pin. I don't even remember who it was. Shingo Takagi. I forgot who he pinned, and that's how they won the match. But anyway, they both had their last match was ran. They weren't really saying anything. They were just saying that they're done with New Japan. They're not renewing their contract. But apparently last night after the match backstage, Bushi did say that it is the end of Los Ingobernables de Japón, which makes me very sad. But for anyone that watches New Japan, I mean, what would LIJ be without Naito, right? Every time when I was watching the match last night, I was remembering about every time that I would watch Wrestle Kingdom or anything New Japan related, where Naito would be in the ring and he would grab the mic, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, is he about to announce a new member?" I don't know why I always wanted him to bring a new member. I always wanted like, I guess I wanted that excitement of a new member. So I'd be like, "Is he about to announce a new LAJ member?" And he really wouldn't. But um, what was I gonna say after that? Okay, it was really sad, restaurant. I was crying. I legit, like as soon as they finished their match and they did the little tranquilo fist
yeah.
pump thing pose, whatever they call it. I started tearing up. They left the ring. They both looked emotional. Even his entrance. Naito usually comes out looking, I don't know, to me like a little menace. Like, okay, what is he gonna do today? He's about to play with us because one thing we know about Naito is that he loves to play with our time.
Mhm.
Um, he literally is bien tranquilo, takes his time getting into the ring, takes his time taking off his
Good
the
stuff.
suit that
Yeah,
he comes out in. And no, last night everything was just like, I was gonna say like normal, but it wasn't normal. He leaves. I went to sleep after that, and then when I woke up, I saw a message from Sergio that I guess he had gone back in the ring after you sh- what's his name? Scott. I know Scott knows his name. Is it Yuta Suji? Oh my gosh, I forgot the other LAJ member's name. So horrible. But I know that he came back out, and then they did that interview backstage.
Hmm.
Bushi said LIJ is over. Bushi said that he decided to not renew his contract because of Naito. He really looks up to Naito, I guess. Um, and I don't know, that made me so like it made me feel like that's exactly what I would have done as well. If I would have been
Yeah.
in LAJ and Naito was like, I'm not renewing my contract, I like Bushi would have been like, you know what, I too am leaving. I also felt very bad because he was in the ring when they came out for the match. You could tell he was holding back tears, and not many people were cheering for him. Mostly everyone was cheering for Naito, so that made me
No.
very, very sad for him. I like Bushi. I understand that Bushi is not New Japan's biggest star, but I do like him. I like him a lot, and so that made me very sad for him. But I am sad that Bushi's leaving as well. Naito said that he's going to be a freelancer. It's just he's just not saying
Whatever
when.
that means.
He's like that could be this week, that could be next year. He's like in New Japan or not. So that makes me a little excited because I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, you know what? If he's retiring, good for him. I mean, I think he should. His knees are not the same. You can tell. We saw him at Windy City Riot, and I immediately looked at Sergio and I was like, you
You're like,
can
wait a
tell that
minute.
his wrestling is different because yeah, his knees are definitely they're not what they used to be. Um, but only Naito knows what he's doing with his body. I'm not gonna tell him what to do with his body. If he wants to keep wrestling and come back a year later, 2 years later, or next week, then he can do that. I just want
Yeah,
him to know that I cried.
I love that.
Someone,
I love that.
someone tell
No,
him.
I mean, sometimes the wrestlers always know. I mean, I guess most wrestlers know when the time is good to call it, right? To say, "Hey, I've done so much in my career and this is what I've accomplished and I'm happy. I'm happy." So,
Yep.
I'm hoping that, whatever freelance means is good.
I mean, I hope he. There's. I mean, there's so many cool things that could happen
Yeah.
because he started Lij after I know Rush was in what do they Los Ingobernables de Mexico, obviously, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not Los Ingobernables de Japón. Rush and I'm not sure who else were in the faction. They started Los Ingobernables,
Mhm.
and then Naito was brought in, and then Naito created his own faction with Lij. So I think it would be really, really, really cool to see him show up CMLL. Like let's say at
Mm.
the AW show that we're gonna mention in a bit.
That's crazy.
What's to say that he shows up at that show at CMLL because he can. I don't know if you know this restaurant. I don't know if we had talked about this on the podcast before, but one of my dreams, and I'm sure a lot of Lij fans' dreams, is to watch him and Rouge work together. But
Really?
they couldn't work together in AEW because of their collab with CMLL and AAA. Since AEW was also working with AAA, Lij basically all Los Ingobernables couldn't work together. When Andrade was in AEW and Rush was in AEW, we all wanted to see Rush and Andrade and Naito together, and we couldn't because of their collaboration or their work with AAA. But now that AAA is with WWE, there shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to see that soon. So hopefully that happens.
Interessante. I guess we will have to see where that goes. Freelancing is common in Japan. They're not signed anywhere exclusively, so they can wrestle in any promotion. Fun fact for me, did not know this.
But it's crazy because Naito has been the heart and soul of New Japan for all these years. So I
Mhm.
know that's why so many of us are so sad to see him go because for me, I mean, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
This is the man that had me watching New Japan. I started watching it
Yeah.
because of Cody and the Young Bucks,
Mhm.
the Elite. Um, but Naito is what I was like, okay, I'm checked in. Like this is my dude. I immediately follow him. I compare my love to him with my love to Eddie Guerrero, like 100%.
Love that.
So and so leaving New Japan is crazy, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Eddie James is checking in and says, "Did y'all talk about AAA yet? AAA?" Yes, we did. It was the first topic that we covered. So make sure that you save this video and after we're done streaming, go back and watch it. Or I don't know if you can start the episode over while you're streaming in real time. I don't know. Never tried it. I'm pretty sure you can. But that's one of the first things that we talked about. Just kind of like what we thought about what was going on. Because Lord Jesus, this picture cracks me up.
Yeah.
It really does. It's taking me out. But yeah, Rose friend, let's talk about that sold out show. Crazy.
That the AEW sold out show in Arena Mexico.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Who would have
AEW
thought?
sold out Arena Mexico in Mexico City. It's so crazy. So crazy to think that that arena was legitimately built for lucha libre, for wrestling, for professional
Mhm.
wrestling. So it's really, really cool to, I don't know, I'm very excited to see that. I'm very excited to see that what that image of like the sold out show of everyone there in their seats and it's AEW stars in the ring with luchadores. That is very exciting. As a wrestling fan, a Mexicana wrestling fan, that is very exciting. So super, super cool.
It is really cool. And shout outs to them. It's going to be June 18th. Um, I just the match, the cards, it has to be phenomenal. As a business owner, of course, I mean Tony puts a lot of thought into like who's going to be showcased and what they're going to do. But to have a show like this in Mexico, as friend,
I
insane.
mean, they have at least one super badass surprise.
Just at least one. That's what.
At least one. I mean, they're gonna be in Mexico. This is AEW's first time in Mexico. Um, they sold out the show. I mean, they're working on CMLL. What can happen? The possibilities are endless. Like I said, Michael could show up.
Oh, restaurant. I know that's your dream.
Yeah, that would be a dream. No, my dream would be for me to be there.
Oh, that would also be
That would have been cool. That would have been super cool.
to be amongst our people. 10 out of
To be
10.
amongst our people. Yes.
Eddie
We
James
we
AEW partnered with the best lucha company in CMLL.
yeah, I agree.
What else do you agree on, restaurant? Hangman Page?
Oh, with AW, yes, best friend,
Let's
Hangman
let's talk about
Page,
Hangman.
facing Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing. Did you watch his match against Kyle Fletcher at all?
I didn't, but I did see. Is that the one where Kyle's back was just destroyed?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
I
that
saw.
happened on
I saw
the those
someone.
LED screens
Mhm.
on the what is it, like the barricade?
Yeah,
Yeah. I was telling Sergio that I never really thought about them, like how they could obviously like hurt themselves with that. I never really thought about that because we see the LED screens by the barricade all the time. Um, so when I saw his back,
you're
how
like,
that happened,
oh
I was like,
my god, yeah,
dang. But it was a very good match, obviously. Hangman Adam Page, Kyle Fletcher, two of AEW's young stars, best stars out there, had a very good match. I saw somewhere, I'm not sure if it's true, but apparently by the end of the match, most of the viewers were women. So- and it's like, duh.
makes
But
sense. Finally, some things
but
in wrestling add up.
right, so finally something for us now. I feel like there's like so much lore behind the whole like Hangman match with Will Ospreay because a lot of us want to see Hangman win, right? And then obviously go for the championship and win that championship again. But a lot of people are also talking about MJF and this Hurt Syndicate because if we've been watching AW, MJF has been trying to work with the Hurt Syndicate. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I don't want to talk too much about it actually
Yeah,
because I do think it's a little weird. I didn't like when they brought in the models and all of that, but at the same time, the whole MJF and her syndicate segment hasn't been too terrible for me. I like the way they're making MJF work hard for it. We've never seen MJF kiss someone's ass so hard in AW ever until the Hurt Syndicate.
yeah,
And it's Bobby Lashley, the one that isn't really falling for it. It's taking him a while. But he told MJF this Wednesday that if he wants to join them, that their name is the Hurt Syndicate because they hurt people. Like they hurt people, so they want MJF to hurt people. So I saw on Twitter that people are talking about what if MJF chooses to fuck with Hangman and cost him the match. And I'm like, whoa, I understand people are tired of the whole MJF and Hangman thing. I'm not. It kind of like I love interesting storylines. I love storylines that take you somewhere where you're like, whoa, this is really exciting. Not just something like, oh yeah, well, Hangman's gonna win.
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, but I do like the thought of like MJF messing with Hangman's match and Hangman getting angrier and to see what happens after that. I don't
yeah.
know.
It's
There's so
gonna
many
be.
possibilities with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. It's gonna be interesting to see where they take it because I feel like right now MJF, they don't really know what to do with him. And yeah, the inclusion
Yeah,
of like the Hurt Syndicate is great. I love the Hurt Syndicate, but are you gonna let him in or not? Just at this point.
yeah, that's taking a while. Like I feel like it's really taking a long time for them to decide like he's brought them a car. I don't know. The segments haven't been that entertaining to me. They've been a little bit weird with like I said with the models, like the whole car thing, but at the same time it's like give us something different with MJF. Like I said, he's kissing these people's ass. That's something a little different. Um Bobby was choking him and basically like he was so angry at him and MJF was like, okay, 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 okay. We never really seen that side of MJF much of him like like I said, kissing ass. He legit is legit kissing their ass.
Really
I do
is.
wonder where they're gonna go with this. Some people think MJF is leaving AEW. I don't know. There's, like I said, there's so much behind this whole like He-Man, MJF, John
Mhm.
Moxley. I don't know. There's so much going on.
There's literally
We're
so
gonna have
much.
to see what happens, restaurant. There's so many, like I said, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, and I think that's why we love wrestling is because literally you could make so many things happen and there's a lot of it going on right now. Like I just watched Collision yesterday and there was just there's too much wrestling. Let me I'm trying to figure out how do we okay, I'm trying to pull up a video. That's why I'm also playing things on the side. But yeah, there's just so much happening. Like right now, the Death Riders, I don't know what's going on with that. John Moxley is cut 3 promos last night, okay, on Collision. And honestly, 3 promos too much because I'm so tired of that man compared to where I was 2 years ago, Rest Friend, where I'm like, yes, we need more John Moxley. We need more Wheeler Yuta, more Claudio. I'm even like tolerating now Marina Shafir at this point. I'm just like, let her in the ring. Like, let's go. Let's have her fight. Um, there's a lot going on. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
no. I mean, I think when it comes to Death Riders, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. I think they've definitely dragged that a little, just like I
Mhm.
said about the whole MJF and Hurt Syndicate thing. I feel like they've dragged it a little. But if they're gonna make it into something big, like I said, costing Heyman a match, who's Moxley gonna lose the title to? Because Mox has to lose the title.
Oh
No
yeah.
one wants to see him as a champ anymore. As much as, like you said, we loved him and they were doing such a great job before this whole like Death Riders thing. We don't want to see him as a champ anymore.
You said,
So
"No, thank you." Absolutely.
oh,
Eddie James says, "We know that MJF is going to bring in a tag team to challenge the Hurt Syndicate. Who would it be?"
I didn't know that. Just kidding. I don't know.
I don't know.
The Hurt Syndicate. Tag team? No, I literally cannot think of who would want to go
Unless he
against the Hurt
unless he
Syndicate.
unless he, has a little side deal with Adam Cole, baby, and brings in, like, Roddy and Kyle. But Roddy and Kyle against the Hurt
The
Syndicate be
Hurt Syndicate? Yeah. That's why I'm like against the Hurt Syndicate. That's hard.
maybe Jericho, and he gets the learning tree, and Big Bill, and,
Please,
Brian Keith.
please no. Please
There's
no.
I don't know, there's so many things, there's so many things. But I do wanna take a moment to for our last topic to be, I guess, not I mean, I guess it's still wrestling related or fighting related in some sense. Have you seen everything that's going on social media and men thinking that they can fight a gorilla?
Oh my God, yeah.
Have you seen it's like the one gorilla versus 100 men, or is it what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100 men versus one gorilla.
Hmm.
Um What are what are your thoughts on this? Because I have thoughts, but I also wanna show you a TikTok that's literally maybe I'll get your thoughts on it before I show you the TikTok because this is taking me out. What is your thinking? Do you think 100 men could fight a gorilla and win?
No, but let them do it. Let them go out there and kill themselves. Yes, go and fight the gorilla. You guys got this. Oh, best
Rest
friend.
friend. I need
Would
men to be so serious. I know every man with a podcast, with a microphone, with any type of social media account is like, "Yeah, we can strategize. We can take on this gorilla." Men, when have you ever strategized 100 men together for your life, sir?
best friend. I sense there's no thoughts because there has to be no thoughts behind their logic either. So what do I even have to say about it? Just yeah, go ahead and go out there and fight them.
Raphael is saying, to be fair, 100 Florida men could beat a gorilla.
Florida? Those are the men you're choosing?
Chuck Norris could, says Scott. First of all, I don't think men have ever been in front of a gorilla before. And also, I need to know what kind of men are going in there. Is it just, are you taking 100 men off the street? Because the question could
Best
be
friend.
100 professional wrestlers against a gorilla. Then I'd say, you know what, maybe. But
But
average
that's the
men,
thing.
get
But
get
that's
get
the thing.
100 WWE fans against the gorilla.
Oh
That's
please.
where do you
Baby
think that would
fans.
go? Exactly. I don't think men are being realistic, and I don't think they're being serious. Out of
No, they definitely can be serious because first of all, who even comes up with that? Like, I think 100 man could beat a gorilla. Who fucking comes up with that? Who even thinks about that? So then for them to start strategizing on the internet, okay, well if this certain amount of men do this and this other certain amount of men do this, we definitely can get the gorilla down. And like I said, my only thought is let them do it.
Let them
Let
do
them
it.
go against the gorilla. Please put them out there with the gorilla.
I'm gonna pull up these TikToks, or this one TikTok that honestly had me dead, Russ friend. The comments alone just were insane. Let me see if this will play. I don't need this. Okay, I just need the comments. Ah, I don't know if you guys can see the comments. Maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. Russ friend, you were gone. Russ friend, you're gone. There you go.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Well, you can't really see the comments on here, but I'm just gonna read them off. You don't really need to see them. Okay. Someone said, how about 100 men versus a job application? Let's see that.
Like that.
Let's see 100 men versus loyalty.
Oh,
100 men versus emotional vulnerability and awareness.
all the men are gonna leave the chat right now. Like, you know what? I don't like this right now.
Best friend. It's just 100 men versus self-control. That's a good one.
Oh
That's
no,
a good one.
I don't believe in
Someone said, you think the gorilla's just gonna sit there? I'm so sorry, but this was the funniest thing to me this week on the internet, that 100 men have the audacity to believe that they can fight a gorilla. Also, then men were like, oh, okay, let's strategize. So they were coming up with like, okay, the first row of people are going to do this and the second row of people are going to do that. Do you think you're in there and you're going to have time to strategize with the gorilla? With the
No,
other
like, do they
people
really
too?
think the gorilla's gonna give them time to like?
Mm.
Yeah,
How about 100 men versus commitment? These comments literally are insane, because also, to be fair, there's also a man in here saying, let's see 100 women versus accountability. I'll be
we're
accountable.
not
I'm not
trying to
gonna fight.
fight a gorilla, bitch.
I'm not like, this is the thing. I'm not saying about accountability. I'm not. It's not. Notice women aren't saying, yeah, we can fight a female gorilla. What? This is insane. This
We're
is
over here trying to fight you, men, not a fucking
exactly.
gorilla.
Oh my
I
god.
know. I know. The moment that I saw them talking about women, I was like, we're not the ones out here on the internet trying to say a hunter was can fight a gorilla. Okay, you're the
We're
ones
not the
putting yourself out there.
Literally, they're the ones who put themselves in this situation. There was a man definitely was like, well, maybe 100 of us could fight a silverback gorilla. Mm-mm. Insane. Sorry
I say we let
and
them do it.
honestly, if you're a man in the chat, if you feel offended, I'm sorry. But
Not
we were not
sorry.
offended. We were not talking to you. Because sometimes we say not all men, but it's always a man.
You know what's so funny? I don't remember why. I could give context next time we stream, but I told Sergio, you know how they say, not all men, but it's always men. I said the same thing about WWE. I was like, it's not all of WWE, but it's always
Always
WWE.
WWE. First friend, that is hilarious. Oh my god.
I just don't remember what it was for.
This is so random. I'm crying. No, I think it's important for us to start incorporating things that are also going on in pop culture. Like, this was such a big thing, and
Yeah,
men think they could fight, and we talk about wrestling. I think it was a topic of
it correlates.
yeah, it correlates. So I thought we could end the show on something fun and light. I just can't respond. I literally screenshotted that because I was like, I have to talk about this. I was like, I have to bring up the gorilla and the comments and the men thinking that they could. It's too good to pass up. But Rest Friend, where can our followers and listeners for today find us on social media?
Thank you so much for listening, Russ Friends. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching us. You already know that you can watch everything restaurant related on our YouTube. You can get our link tree on Twitter, on our Instagram bio. Um, we have our YouTube there. Please go watch Edie's amazing adventure at Las Vegas for WrestleMania. Watch any video you want on there, any information you want from restaurants. You guys already know our link tree on Instagram and on Twitter is on our bio.
Yes, and we will have, speaking of pop culture, we went to Comic-Con. Troy's talking about Rest Friends mainstream pop culture streams era. Oh my God. We might have to. Rest Friend, we might have to make another little side streams on the side just to talk about like our pop culture
Hey,
stuff. Who
oh my
knows?
gosh, I'm so down because in America, like we always have so much to talk about. There's always something going on the internet.
Yes.
Always something to talk about.
Always
So I'm
that
down.
we can incorporate it. Who knows? Okay, we got a little
Right?
brainstorm.
You never know.
That's a try. You never know. Yeah. Speaking of, like I said, pop culture, we are going to have our Comic Con vlog out this week, where Teddy and I went to C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, and honestly, that was so much fun. There's always so much wrestling stuff to do. We got to do a couple meet and greets, and those will also be in the video. And yeah, thanks guys for watching us today. I know it was early, but you guys have stuck around. You've participated. Thank you so much. We always appreciate you. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up to help us in the algorithm to push our video out there. Leave more comments. Make sure if you're not subscribed to us, subscribe and share this video to other people who you think would also want to be a rest friend, a wrestling friend, a wrestling best friend, because you know all that wrestling chisme and good times, you can find them here with me and Teddy. So thank you guys so much. We always appreciate you for watching, and we love you guys. So thanks.
Okay, rest of the day,
Yeah.
night, wherever you're at. Good night. Good
Good night,
morning.
good morning. Have a shot on us. 10 out of 10.
Please have a shot on us. If any of you are stoners, please smoke a blunt for me.
Let's do it. All right. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.